Hello everybody and welcome back to artofdino.com and saveearth.us, and it is a new year and we'll see what path we end up taking this year. There's so many things to talk about, so many things that happen, and you never know because this one just came out of nowhere, and that's where most of mine end up coming except the ones that I pre-planned. So this one is actually a CIA discovery. I think they just released this article at least in the year 2025, but it's from 1967 and it's something that you can find on the internet, the report from Iron Mountain. And it's very interesting because it explains just an interesting topic that I like to talk about here, and that's the possibility of worldwide peace. And from my perspective, it's a lot different from the minds of this government thing. But if you look online, you can see that there's a lot of talk out there. Oh, this is the greatest hoax in government history. Oh, these people wrote a book and people believe that the government actually planned this stuff and talked about this stuff. But then there's other people that are like, wow, they could have, only people on the very higher ups could have ever known any of this stuff. And the predictions have played out very well. So it's one of those documents from in the past where they try to gameplay the future and they get it pretty much right, and they the stuff that they want to keep in there, they do. And this is kind of basically a report on the possibility of peace and how they analyze it. Basically, can the world exist without war? And I 1,000% believe it can. I believe that's where we came from. I believe that's how we originated. I think war is a man-made invention of these people that are a devil and thinking improperly, totally using their brains the wrong way, and the corruption just continues to go, and then you get war. But so they kind of gameplayed it here. This is the PDF here, you can see, and I'll put the link below. But I want to read this article because the article from that the CIA released or whatever from Book Talk by Leonard Sanders in the Star Telegram in 1967 has a great take on it all, and you can tell exactly what's coming. And I will probably read this and check out the audiobook as well and do another video on it before. But I wanted to bring this all up to you guys at first and show you this particular perspective. And so listen to this article. It's pretty interesting. But first, I also have to point out that it's very interesting that this is called Report from Iron Mountain, because what if, again, this Iron Mountain, the ivory tower over here, is where the control of all of this realm's from? You would think that in order to control a realm, you'd need a central place. This very well could be the above top central place where they issue all the things down. And again, that's more need for them to be like, that's a hoax. Don't look that way. Iron Mountain. Meanwhile, the magnetic pole of our planet is most likely an iron ore, and it's a giant mountain at the top where everything emanates from. And so again, that is a very important aspect of this report from Iron Mountain. They want you to never know that that place exists, but they are issuing all the commands to the enslaved ones, from there. Most likely, who knows? Again, just an added theory, but Iron Mountain sounds a little bit suspect to me. But let's get back to that article and see what it says. Book Talk, Iron Mountain to Raise Uproar, November 8th, 1967, by Leonard Sanders. It says Dial Press has a book scheduled for publication November 30th that reads like a psychedelic nightmare version of George Orwell's 1984 or Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. But Dial Press claims that the book, identified as a suppressed government report, is true. In essence, the book, Report from Iron Mountain on the Possibility and Desirability of Peace, concludes that lasting peace, disarmament, and disbanding of armies would be a catastrophe of staggering proportions. The report, quote-unquote, warns that the war system cannot responsibly be allowed to disappear until we know exactly what it is we plan to put in its place, and we are certain beyond reasonable doubt that these substitute institutions will serve their purpose in terms of the survival and stability of society. Just a glaring declaration that you are all enslaved by us and we will do what we want, and that's pretty much it. And so the people on like nowadays and for years have been like, this, what a joke, what a hoax, how could anyone believe this? Meanwhile, they're talking about poisoning the water, sterilizing third world nations before they bring it to America, constant war, total every single thing that we've experienced. The UFO phenomenon as well. So all these things were game planned in this, and I believe it's to be 100% true and part of the game plan. And there's so many of them, of the elite controllers. They put their plans out there before they initiate them. That way, the people that they want to have them can, and they can stifle anyone that's like, oh, Bite's just saying, oh, it's a lie, it's a hoax, ha 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 ha. So here we go. Some advanced readers in the government have labeled the book a hoax, but Dial Press insists that the report is authentic. Esquire magazine is planning a 28,000-word condensation in its December issue, and hoax or not, the book promises to become the focal point of some lively debate. The author understandably chooses to remain anonymous. I don't know if that's still the case, but in an introduction, Leonard C. Lewin, a New York freelance writer, explains that an acquaintance, a professor of one of the social sciences, approached him with this story. In 1963, the professor was asked by the government to participate in a study on the nature of the problems that would confront the nation if and when a condition of permanent peace should arrive, and to draft a program for dealing with this contingency. The group of 15 members, each proficient in at least 2 fields, met many times during the next 2.5 years. The report was submitted in 1966. Later, the professor became concerned over the implications of the findings and felt that the material should be made public knowledge. With Lewin's help, the book was produced. A New York Times news story quotes a State Department Arms Control and Disarmament Agency spokesman as denying that such a special study group ever existed. However, he added that the book is cleverly done, and whoever did it obviously has an appreciable grasp of the disciplines involved. Arthur I. Waskow of the Institute for Policy Studies is quoted as saying that if the report is authentic, it would probably have come from the Bureau of the Budget of the Central Intelligence Agency. Ding, ding, ding. He added that one of his privately circulated reports is mentioned in the book. As far as I know, he says, only about 60 people in Washington ever saw my report. If it's a hoax, it must involve somebody pretty darn high up. The book has the analytical objectivity that has shocked readers of Herman Kahn's On Thermonuclear War and Thinking About the Unthinkable, but even more chilling are discussions of other issues. This is a good one. The advances of medicine, for instance, are viewed as a problem, creating population gains that must be offset in some manner. Jabs. Use of the pill, quote unquote, the sterilization pill in water supplies or certain essential foodstuffs, like all of the food that you find at Walmart and everywhere else that's in America pretty much, is casually mentioned with the note that this plan is already under development. But this is just a hoax, everybody, so don't worry about it. A footnote, just ignore the last 50 years of reality. A footnote attributes these experiments to biologists in Massachusetts, ding ding ding, Michigan and California, the dumps of the country, as well as in Mexico and the USSR, Ukraine most likely. Preliminary test applications are scheduled in Southeast Asia and countries not yet announced. How nice, and I'm sure Africa was in there too, big time. In a search for an economic substitute for war, the report dismisses the war on poverty as inadequate because it would be far too cheap. Quote, space research can be viewed as the nearest modern equivalent, yet devised to the pyramid building and similar ritualistic enterprises of ancient societies, the report observes, but it laments that credibility, in fact, lies at the heart of the problem of developing a political substitute for war. This is where the space race proposals, in many ways so well suited as economic substitutes for war, fall short. The most ambitious and unrealistic space project cannot of itself generate a believable external menace. It has been hotly argued that such a menace would offer the last best hope of peace by uniting mankind against the danger of destruction by creatures from other planets or from outer space. Experiments have been proposed to test the credibility of an out-of-our-world invasion threat. Independence Day, that movie, was probably one of those plans and experiments on the people to see how they'd think and to also get it into the public, because that's exactly what that movie shows. And this Atlas 3IA, the next step in this process, Hail-Bop, whatever that was. I still don't know what that was. So that, I think, is totally beyond the control of any government. But who knows? Again, you never know. That could have been part of it as well. And all of these things. But they don't like that one because they know that there's so many disbelievers in it. So they need something else. Or they'll just keep the war games going. Why not? You know, they love it. And even the stuff that they're trying to say, like the ways they're trying to, it seems like, achieve peace, or if there were to be peace, it's just like, oh yeah, there's peace around the people, but we're going to still wage war on them covertly. So never peace until these corrupt scumbags are gone. The report suggests that flying saucer incidents may be the results of experiments of this kind. I'm sure they are. The report also discusses deliberate pollution of the air, food, and water supplies as a threat in the creation of a universal non-military service, a compulsory peace corps as a sophisticated form of slavery for social control in a world at peace. The code of military discipline would need little revision, the report notes. So basically, there's no way these people in control are ever going to give up their blood games of war. So also suggested are blood games, like i.e. Hunger Games, The Long Walk, The Purge, for the effective control of individual aggressive impulses, with the thought that such a ritual might be socialized in the manner of the Spanish Inquisition in the less formal witch trials of other periods for purposes of social purification, state security, or other rationale both acceptable and credible to post-war societies. Yikes. And they did all of these things. How can anyone still today think this is a hoax? They have done everything in this book, and this is only a summary of it. Imagine when we get deep, and I will. The world war industry, quote, with the Cold War as an effective substitute, has functioned well, the report notes, with the Cold War as an effective substitute. So when they not have war, they just have a Cold War to fill in the gap of the fear that needs to be just dumped all over the world. One chapter attacks the oft-quoted theory that war is an extension of politics. Quote, war itself is the basic social system within which other secondary modes of social organization conflict or conspire, the report claims. Quote, war has provided both ancient and modern societies with a dependable system for stabilizing and controlling national economies. No alternate method of control has yet been tested in a complex modern economy that has shown itself remotely comparable in scope or effectiveness. And to me, all of this, from just this at least, reads as, again, people that do not want to give up their thing. They probably have families, probably have grandkids, and they're like, the future, I'd rather have my kids control the war aspect of the future than than work towards peace and live in a place of peace. And again, I am a true believer that at one point this world was perfect. The architects created this wonderland that stretches 6 billion miles wide, 6 billion miles high. Massive, divine architects created all of this. And when we got our little realm opened up to the public, it had an amazing prime, and then inevitably it came down to a reset and a crushing and an invasion of these terrible forces that destroyed everything to the point of, it just looks like nature. And whereas before it was built, and this is probably thousands of years before and whatnot, but during that time, during that prime, during those creation modes of amazingness and creativity to the max of all humanity, the world was at peace. Peace is the natural state of the world, I truly believe, and it just takes these demonic, evil scumbags who just can only think about money and power and death that have changed that from something perfect to something awful. And I think we can change it back no matter what these people think in gameplay. There's never I can grasp what a united society is. And, they're only thinking of ways to unite them by fear and by a possibility of destruction, so they unite together. But why not through beauty and through peace and through perfection and showing people perfection? Why not restoring all the ancient books, holy books, and showing people what was taken from us? Or justice. How about justice for the evil people? That's a good, positive way of creating peace, getting rid of the scumbags who have destroyed this place and pillaged it for every single nasty thing that they could. Why not doing that? How about that? Instead of just keeping the people in fear and war because we control them and we like it because we're the cool ones. We're chosen by evil to corrupt everything. Why not just change it and go with it and find out the new things? Even if you can't brainstorm because your minds are too stupid and corrupt, maybe you could find some people that would, and pick the 15 most sacred people or smartest intellectually or enlightened people on earth, put them together and have this same thought process. What can we do with peace? What will happen with peace? What would the world be like? Let's brainstorm it and how we can make it profitable or how we can make it work in general, cohesively for everyone. Because I guarantee you there's ways, because that's the way it was in the past, and creativity is the answer. Art, creativity, spirituality, beauty, everything good is the answer. It is the cure to get rid of this. And if you teach people how to think, how to use their minds, and how to be confident, and get rid of all the nasty mind control that they've put on all of us, I think we'd have a great chance at uniting everyone in peace through beauty and miracles of art and life and creativity and harmony and everything great. So, who knows? I'd like to hear from you all what you all think about this. Bless you all from artofdino.com and saveearth.us. Happy New Year.